Hello, I'm Zach Whalen, and welcome to Digital Studies 101. Thought I'd make a short little video just to say hi and give you a sense of what I look like and sound like in case you've never seen me or heard me. This is me. I'm recording this video outside, which I like to do. I'm on homes in the background. It's kind of noisy out here though, so maybe I'll do the next ones inside. I do like to do videos, frequently for this class to demonstrate various things, but mainly I wanted to at this point just to say hi and let you know kind of who I am and what the deal is. So, in case you don't know me, I teach in the English department, English Linguistics and Communication, and I teach classes in Digital Studies. So that has become a big part of the minor in Digital Studies and the major in Communication and Digital Studies. I'm teaching here. I've been here. This is my 10th year, I realized. So it's kind of crazy. My oldest daughter is 10, so that's kind of how I keep track of how many years I've been here. She was born the fall of my first year here at UMW. So anyway, welcome to DGST 101, and I'm going to do, after this quick hello video, I'll do a few more videos this week, probably talking about different things that I'm trying to get you all to work on and think about in this first week. There's quite a lot, right? I mean, this is a class that normally takes 15 weeks. We're trying to do it in 5, but really most of the content is in the 4 weeks. So it's a really compressed schedule. We have a lot of things to do every day, so hopefully you can keep up with it all. My intent is that this is something that you can do in some cases on your own, at your own pace, as long as you stay with it kind of week by week. So that's why I'll do posting with instructions every day, Monday through Thursday, and then on Friday a general wrap-up post. And so, if you're trying to do everything on Thursday or Friday, you still probably can, but it's going to be quite a lot of work on those 2 days. So I guess just be ready for that. The wind is really picking up, and so the mic is probably picking up a lot of that wind. Hopefully that's not too bad. I'll try to edit it out later. Okay, so the first thing that you need to be doing and working on for this site is within something called Slack. If you've never used Slack before, it does take a little bit of practice, and it takes a little while to get oriented. So I'd like to help you get oriented with Slack first of all. So Slack is it's a web-based tool that lets you collaborate with other people, and it's good at doing conversations in real time and also after the fact, or both synchronously and asynchronously, which is why I like it. It's similar. You may have used Discord. It does have some similarities with Discord, but also some important differences. One of those differences is that Slack is each workspace is unique with it. So slack.com is the main website, but each workspace or team is a subdomain of that one. So in our case, our subdomain is DGST101 summer19.slack.com. And so this is the link that you'll see on the website and in the email that I just sent. And when you first access this, it looks like this, and it prompts you to sign in. This is not connected to UMW in any way, so this is something that you have to sign up for. And when you sign up for this, you're not signing up for Slack per se, you're signing up for our Slack, for our specific workspace. So to do that, you have to go to create an account, and it just has to end in @umw.edu or mail.umw.edu. Just remember which one you pick here. So this is where I would recommend just your net ID, whatever that is. So I'm not going to sign in like this because I already have an account, but I'll show you what it looks like. Once you sign in, it'll look kind of like this. This is actually the desktop client, and it looks very similar to the web client. Hopefully this message will go away after somebody joins this, because I can't make it go away. Like if I click add people, it just takes me to this administrative page where I can invite people, but I don't want to invite people. So anyway, I mean, I'm inviting you all, but through a different, oh, it went away. Oh, great. Oh, great. Stephanie just joined. All right. Excellent. Welcome. Okay. So this works. So yeah, this is Slack, and this is like the chat room. Basically, you can type things very quickly and have conversations. So I'll say hi to, actually, you know what, I'll do an emoji. So you can do emoji in here. So I'll do a hi, waving hand. Where's that? I'll say hi to Stephanie. So you can do those kinds of messages, as it calls them, back and forth. You can also use emoji to react to a specific post. So if you want to react to this one, if Stephanie wants to respond by waving back, she can click the add reaction and then choose the appropriate emoji that she feels like responds to that. That's a good way to indicate just that you acknowledge that you heard a message or that you're part of that conversation. The other things you can do here, so over here we have channels, and these are different conversations or separate ones. I'm going to use this announcements channel to post things that as I update them to the website or when I make a new video. I've made a discussion channel here for Waters, and this will be this is your homework for day one, is to read this article, which is linked right here, and then discuss it here. There's some discussion questions in the blog post, and I'll probably put those discussion questions in here as well. So when you first log in, you'll actually just have access to the general chat channel, so you'll probably need to search for these other channels to find and join them. So click on the word channels and then browse to it. I already belong to these, so they show up here. In your case, there's this one. There's Summer 2019, just ignore that one. But yeah, the one in question that you should join are announcements. Make sure you join that one, and then also join the Discuss Waters channel to discuss that article. So yeah, this is the basics of Slack. A couple other things you can do is you can send DMs. So if I wanted to DM Stephanie, because she's the only other person here, I can click on that and then have a direct message conversation with her. But when you see my name, you can click on my name and then have a message just to me. I can send a message to myself as well, as you see here, but I don't really need to do that. Okay, so one of the first things you should do as you join Slack is make sure you customize your profile. You can do that by clicking on the name of the team, or your picture, I guess, and then you click on profile and account, and then you can change a few things about it here. I would recommend that you choose a full name or something that is not, something other than your net ID. Z Whalen, like that's my net ID. That doesn't mean anything. That's kind of impersonal and boring. So something that's a bit, more specific. It can be your actual name if you'd like. That makes sense. But if you'd rather not be your actual name, that's okay too. Also, set a profile picture. Again, it doesn't have to be a picture of you, but just a specific picture other than the default automatically generated one would be great. So this is a picture of me, kind of an older picture now, but also kind of, I don't know, intimidating looking. But that's my picture. I would recommend something. I mean, a picture of you is great, but if you'd rather not do a picture of you, just something other than the default so that you kind of stand out, because this is going to be the main way that we interact with each other. So make it something that's unique and memorable. There is also an app for iPhone or Android or whatever phone you have for Slack, and I also recommend that. That way you can get notifications on the phone and also use it on the phone if you just have quick questions. Sometimes that's easy if you're away from a computer. So I do recommend that. I can't show you that in the screencast, obviously, but it looks pretty similar. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Yeah, it has the ability, you can do phone calls, I think, within Slack. I don't know how that works. I've never actually tried that. But that might be useful at some point if you want to chat about something, or if you have something you're trying to do for this class that you need me to help troubleshoot. Over here, by the way, these are other Slack teams that I have signed into on this client. I checked, I have something like 20 different Slack workspaces that I'm part of, so these are just the ones that I've been recently paying attention to. So, okay, so I think that's about it for Slack. Oh yeah, no, I do want to show you how to do threads. So if you go here to the general chat, these are some questions that I'd like for you to kind of talk through as a way to introduce yourself and get used to this space here. So to do a threaded reply, you click this little start a thread icon, and then it goes in like this. So this is a threaded reply. So I'll delete this after I post it, but you'll see how this goes. So yeah, so now this will show up here, and then this way that question still kind of remains on top, and the replies kind of go off into the side, but they're still pretty accessible. So that's yeah, that's about it. So yeah, please answer these questions in a thread there, just as a way to introduce yourself. Also, as you noticed, in case you didn't, when you want to reference somebody specifically, you type @ and then their name. And so, of course, @ Stephanie's the only option that comes up right now. But if you want to talk to me, @ Zach, that would be one way to get my attention in a public channel. Or if you want to just send me a direct message, that'd be fine. You don't have to @ me in that. Okay, so I think that's it for Slack. So that was Slack. Pretty quick, but hopefully it made sense. It's the kind of thing that you can get used to pretty quickly, I think, and it's fine once you get used to it. If you do have any questions about Slack, or if you have trouble getting into it, let me know. Just send me an email and that'll be fine. I'll try to help you out that way. But hopefully I'll see you in Slack soon so that you can ask me questions there. That's the point of it. So I wanted to get started with Slack right away to get you started in that context, so you can start really becoming the community that I hope this class can become and serve as for this semester. Okay, so that was Slack, and I want to also show you a few things that are important of note just to help navigate the class website. So this is the website for the class, summer.dgst101.net. We will also be using just the regular dgst101.net, by the way. Let me show that to you quickly here, but not immediately. And Okay, there it goes. Yeah, this whole site needs to be reworked, but we'll be using some of the content from this at some point. But this is the summer version of the class, and this is kind of the day-by-day stuff of the class. As you see, I've got a welcome message, just a general sort of hello to the class kind of thing. Some big ideas. Please read through this. Also, I've got a week one, day one post, and what I'm going to keep doing throughout this semester is like a week one, week one, day one, week one, day two, 3, 4, and so on. So I'll do 4 of those posts every week, and then a final weekly wrap up on Friday of each week to kind of summarize the things that you should have to make sure you've completed by then. In general, everything's due on Fridays, so but they are kind of structured in a sequence that is intentional. So you should follow through with these in the order that I've put them in here, ideally on the day when I post them. Of course, everyone's schedule is a little different. I understand that, so a lot of these things can be done at your own pace, but make sure that you don't get so far behind that you're really scrambling to make up a lot at the end of the week. So anyways, this is the week one, day one post. There's a lot here that isn't complete yet. I can't, like this, I mentioned this in an email. I can't get this page to work. I don't know why. But that's part of the fun of building websites. Sometimes things don't work, and then you get to figure out how they work, and you learn from the process. That's fine. So this is the syllabus, and I wanted to emphasize a couple of things in here. First of all, the idea of digital studies is something that's worth kind of reflecting on a bit. And when I talk about digital studies, I'm usually talking about these 3 things combined or together in some way: digital creativity, digital culture, and digital methodology. With the assignments in this class, you're going to be experimenting with all 3 of those, and you're going to be sharing the output of that work or the outcome of that work on your own website. And so that's a major thing that you take away from this class is your domain. If you don't already have one, this is something that's a pretty big deal. So having an idea of what to do with that is something that I hope every student takes away from this. And that's through these 3 things of digital creativity, digital culture, digital methodology. So we'll talk about each of those 3 things as they come up, and you'll have an assignment, a project associated with each one of those things, and then a couple more assignments. So this is logistically, a couple other things of note here. And I'm not going to go through this whole document because I know you can read it, but please do read it. At the end of each week, I would like a reflection and participation report. This is just a summary explaining what you did this week. And this can also be how you turn things in. So if you complete a module this week, which you should, then talk about it in this reflection and participation report that you submit. This can be posted on your blog, or it can be sent to me directly in Slack if you'd prefer to do it that way. But you'll have a blog by the end of this week, so that would be a logical thing to do with that blog. And if you have some reason not to, I guess that's okay. We can talk about it, but that's kind of the default thing with that. Okay, some of the other lessons or projects here, we've got 3 modules that are going to be drawn from, wait, did I put them in here? Oh yeah, they're at the top. So 3 modules that are going to come from DGST101.net. Those are kind of choose your own adventure with those, and I'll talk about that when that comes up, probably tomorrow. But the others here are pretty well designed and specifically designed assignments: the object lesson, digital polarization. Those will have their own pages and sets of instructions in here. Digital polarization will be a sort of a group project. Those are tricky to manage logistically in an online class, so we'll talk about that, but that's the idea with that. Anyway, these are all just kind of brief summary assignments that I hope make sense. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about how grading is going to work. I'm going to use this minimalist scale here, and I'm doing this because I want to take away some of the nitpickiness of grading and some of the burden there. What I really hope is that you and I have a good conversation about your work, and so the feedback that I give you is a way to help you understand where you need to grow as a student, and also where you're doing really well. And that's about it. I don't want to get into nitpicky pluses and minuses and what's the difference between a B plus and an A minus. I'm going to give you grades that look like this: check, check plus, check minus, or an X if you don't do anything. And that's that I think is enough granularity to convey the main things that I think a grade can convey, which is like, yes, you did it and you met the expectations, or you didn't, or in some cases maybe you exceeded those expectations, and that would be an unusual circumstance. Not everybody's going to get check pluses on every assignment, but that's something that does let me indicate or recognize whenever you go above and beyond in some way. Because it's above and beyond, I can't tell you what that is, because if I told you what it is, that would just be the expectation. So it has to be something that is novel and going beyond what I've asked for. And that'll be it. But a lot of this will be really, the grade will really be a conversation, and so you'll be part of that conversation, and you'll have a chance to argue for the grade that you think you deserve at the end of the semester. So this semester is pretty short. This is a tentative outline of the things that you should be kind of planning for and thinking ahead towards. This is all very general, of course, at this point, and it kind of will remain pretty loose in the sense that I understand you might complete things at different paces. But as far as what it goes into each week, that would be something that I strongly recommend, or will insist that you try to follow. But all that'll be directed and managed through the website as far as like what to do each day and then what to make sure you've done by the end of each week. So let's take a look at the first one of those on the week 1, day 1 post. And this is how these will tend to be structured. So a bit of introductory stuff here, some instructions. These bullet things are steps you should follow here about signing up for Slack. And some of what I've already talked about in the Slack part of this video. I also have a few things to talk about here with a domain. You have a chance to choose a domain name, and this is something that you should be very thoughtful about. And if you have any questions, please ask. I mean, this is something that you can only do once. Like choosing a domain to register, you can't redo it. So make sure you choose something that you're not going to regret, basically. And if you aren't sure what you're going to regret or not regret, run it by me first, or just post it in the general chat Slack just to kind of see what other people think about it. If it's something that is a little bit you're not sure of. It's something that I've seen some bad choices, or some choices that students came to regret. So think about that as you do that, and let me know if you have any questions. But a couple things to read or look at if you want to understand kind of the technical part of what you're choosing when you choose a domain. But basically, you're choosing your equivalent of, like I have zachwhalen.net. You're choosing something like that. So it's going to be yourname.com or your thing that you go by online.net, or whatever it is you choose it to be. It's yours. So make a good choice. Okay, so then this is an article I'd like for you to read that gives you kind of the intellectual or philosophical background for this project within this class, and also this whole program that we do, the Domain of One's Own program. This is an article by Audrey Waters, who's an educational technologist, or a person who thinks about education technology, I should say. And so read that, and then here's some discussion questions that I think are some of the implications of what she's talking about, and that's what I hope we can get to in Slack. So there's a Slack channel just for that conversation, and if you click this link, it actually should take you straight to that channel. I'm not signed in on this. I'm not signed in on this browser, but it's over here. So once you're ready to discuss this article, talk about it here in this channel. I've organized it this way, by the way, so if you are doing it somewhat after other people have already started the conversation, you can still find a place to jump in. Otherwise, it's pretty easy to lose track of things in the general chat channel. Okay, so here's some more advice about domains. Again, some things to think about. Try to, as you choose that domain to register, I recommend avoiding hyphens. Don't reference UMW or any other brand names, anything like that. Keep it as short as you can. But since domains can only be registered once, then the domain you want may already be taken. It depends on what your name is and how much of your name you want to try to put in the domain and things like that. Something else too, think about how it sounds if you say it out loud, because you want to be in a situation where let's say you're in an elevator with the person who's looking to hire you for something, and you want them to check out your website. You want to be able to say your website in a way that they'll be like, oh yeah, and then later they can look it up and find you that way. Think of it in terms of saying it out loud, and if it doesn't sound clear out loud, or if it has to be spelled, then that's something that you might want to avoid. But ultimately, it should be something that speaks to your identity, and that's the main thing. Okay, so I think that's it for the website. But other than I'll be updating this as every day throughout this semester, pretty much. So make sure you check it frequently. When I do update it, I'll post a link in Slack, and also I will. You can also sign up for an RSS feed, I think. I don't remember if I created that for this site or not. I think I did. So hopefully I set up an RSS feed, but if not, I'm going to do it manually anyway. Okay, that's it. There I am. Okay, so that was the website, and you already saw Slack. So those are the two main spaces that you'll be interacting with online as the content and experience of this class. So your homework for today, sorry I keep getting dark on that. Your homework for today, your main tasks are to sign up for Slack, which hopefully you already did that. Also, read an article or two about how the web works, just so you understand that in general in a technical sense. Also, take a look at the article by Audrey Waters, and there's a discussion channel already set up in Slack for you to share some thoughts about that. And I've got some questions that are prompting that discussion. I don't know what's happening with my camera. It's like fading me in and out with light. I don't know what's happening there. Sorry about that. I looked really washed out too. Oh well. Yeah, I think that. Audrey Waters' article. Please read that and think about it and talk about it in the Slack channel that I set up for that. Also, the main thing that you're going to be working with on this class is your website, and so that's going to require you to set up a domain name if you don't already have one. If you don't already have one, setting up a domain name is something you can only do once, and so you need to be thoughtful about that domain that you choose. You can't change it later. This is it. So let me know what you're thinking if you have any questions. It's something that you should be you should run by someone to make sure it makes sense. Take a look at the advice I have in the post, the day one post, explaining some of the things you might want to consider as you think about a domain name. Usually it's yourname.com or .net or .org. That's usually what most people choose for this, and that's totally fine if that's what you want to do and if that's available. Yeah, otherwise, let me know if you have questions. Do your best with it, and I'll be back tomorrow with another a week 1, day 2 post, and then day 3 and day 4, and then a wrap up on Friday to kind of to remind you what you need to have accomplished at that point for this class. So I think that's it. Welcome to the class. Let me know if you have any questions.